If you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip? Yo. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud, he opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking how? Everybody's choking now. The clock's run out, time's up, over, loud. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes gravity.
What up, everybody? Spiritual Experience. We are back. You guys know the deal. Like and subscribe. All podcast platforms. Apple, Spotify. Share it with your friends. You know, do whatever. Share it with your family. Share it with people that you hate. It's all right. It's all right, Spider. It's all right. Yeah, so we're doing pretty good. Last episode, I was basically just kind of like being like a little bit of a crybaby, a little bit of a yenta. Everybody was, what do you call it? Forgiving, as far as that goes, and that's cool. You know, whatever. You know, not a big deal. It was funny. Yeah, that was shit that I had to get off my chest, Bo. Either way, yeah. So what I've been thinking about in the last few weeks, a few hours, man, is really just going through, I don't know. Again, I always call it the suffering, but going through that pain of doing what's right, and respecting that about yourself, which is cool. And it's not easy, and nobody wants to be a hypocrite, and nobody wants to do whatever. But what's the truth? The truth is that we're all fallible. We're all capable in the right moment or the right time to do like the wrong thing, if that makes any sense. So, I wanted to just kind of share some ideas with you about how I try to combat that, because I deal with that like every day. I know a lot of people believe on the outside that I have it all together, but I do not have it all together. Not all by myself. I'm able to execute, and I'm able to, execute, meaning get up every day and try to just be positive, and not like in like hokey pokey, like, oh, got to stay positive today. No, I mean like, take positive steps in my life and have my life turn into what I want it to be, which is like, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable living like that and doing that, because like there's a, we're going to call it the disease today, but you can call it whatever you want to call it. The inside of you, your inside voice that tells you, like, it doesn't tell you, but mine tells me, like, listen, number one, it's very freaking loud. And it says, bro, you are a loser. And, you're a loser. And this is all like a sham. And they're going to find out sooner or later that you don't know what you're doing. And then all these, that it's a scam, that it's a sham, that it's a scam, whatever you want to call it. And I think all of that, here's the thing. If I do nothing, all of that is true, actually. All of that is true. If I do nothing and I just, let things die on the vine and just hide from everyone and everything, including myself. But the problem is eventually I cannot hide from myself, and a lot of these, ideas are not 100% mine. Maybe the experience is my own experience, and maybe you can identify, and hopefully you can ask yourself, where in my life am I hiding from something, or what am I hiding from? A lot of times you don't even have to ask yourself, man, because you talking to yourself, where you're falling short, or what you're fucking procrastinating on, or where in your life you're a hypocrite, and how do you even combat that? And these are like things that like nobody knows, but and that's the problem. The problem is you can't escape your own self. You can't escape your own self. The summer's here. And, you know, I've been going hard, you know, the last maybe month or so in the gym and trying to do other things. But I've had, I'd say 85%, you know, success rate as far as defeating that self-doubt and that worry and the other things, you know, the low self-esteem and the other shit that can manifest itself into inactivity, and then all of those fears actually become reality. So what's the truth? The truth is if, like I was saying, if I do nothing, you know, all of those fears become reality. And that is sometimes, if I'm honest with myself, sometimes the disease or whatever, you know, wants that. You know, I need something to fucking cry about. I need something to complain about. You know, it's always these, them. It's everybody else's fault. And I don't want any responsibility. And that's not the case. You know, that's not the case. I'm accountable to myself. And I'm not naturally like that. Naturally, I want to put on a show and then run and hide and something else, you know. And that's hard to be honest with yourself about that. But I have to accept that about myself. And then what am I going to do? You know, because all of those insecurities and everything and all that shit, it shows up every time right on time. You know, it shows up when things are going really well, that I'm doing enough things to combat that. You know, that I'm going to enough meetings, that I'm sharing with people in my life about what's going on, and making lists of things that I have to do, and holding myself accountable to them, and I'm accomplishing them like a little bit at a time. And then the thing is, like, the disease shows up halfway through a lot of these tasks, either in the beginning, actually shows up the whole time. I shouldn't say that. Maybe sometimes if I get enough inertia, I'm going on autopilot and I'm just fucking knocking things down. But on other times, it's like, okay, in the beginning, yeah, I'm motivated. Boom, I'm going to go do this thing. You know, being responsible, like maybe, you know, checking where all my freaking money is going, or, you know, yeah, stuff like that. You know, all the responsible things that if you whittle them down, it's like, okay, I went to the dentist this week and they did I went to the dentist last week also, and they did a cleaning, and my teeth are in pretty good shape, considering that is one of the areas in my life that I neglect the most. You know, that's where, like, if I'm eating right and doing the right things that are outside of the game, when I mean outside of the game, this is what I mean. And I know I'm babbling, I'm going on a tangent, but maybe it'll make sense. Okay, the game is actually things that matter. Now, in my life, I believe there are things that count and things that matter. So if I do the things that count, that gives me a better shot to do the things that matter. So meaning that if I conquer that shit in the morning, as soon as I can, like telling myself, like, bro, you have to go work out, or you have to go meditate, or you have to go pray, or the other stuff. That's like things that count, right? Because I call it maybe practicing for the game, because the game is like real life. The game is the shit that really matters. Like, am I doing the best that I can for my kids and for myself and for other people who depend on me? Am I a dependable person? You know, am I being the best son that I could be, the best partner that I can be, the best employer, air quotes, that I can be, the best citizen, like in my neighborhood and with other areas in my life where we're extending and we're helping people and there's other shit. Am I doing all of that is to the best of my ability? That's where it matters. But I will fail all the time where it matters if I don't hold myself, or if I don't force myself to do the things that count, if that makes any sense. So the things that count are like, okay, what's practice? Practice of me showing up and being honest is like, dude, 10-minute meditation in the morning. Now, the meditation itself, I've explained this many times. The actual meditation doesn't really do a lot. I mean, it does, but me forcing myself to do something that I don't want to do. Right. And in everybody's life, there's a list of things that that are good for you, but you don't want to do. That there's like this mental block. Like, so, I have the mental block, like when it comes to my teeth, I don't take care of them. And and the Lord has blessed me with, I guess, good genetics. I don't know. My teeth, they don't get fucked up that bad. I mean, I have the one tooth that's missing, because, and it's a good reminder about my disease. That's part of the reason why I keep it there. The other part is laziness. Like, I don't want a fucking implant because I was so malnourished and everything when I was a drug addict that when the tooth cracked in half, I told the dentist, if it's not in front, just pull that bitch out because I got somewhere else I need to be, And it's a good, story to tell. And it's a good reminder for me or whatever. But all right, so point is that, if so at the dentist, they're like, oh, they're like, I think they always try to just be nice. No one tries to say, listen, your shit is fucked up and you need to be more on top of it or whatever. But for me, they were just like, oh, look, it's not that bad. And I said, yeah, because they were looking, they're like, oh, because I had like a filling that cracked, but that filling has been in there or whatever for like 15 years. Maybe more, maybe like 20. Yeah, I'd say no, maybe 15, 18 years it's been in there. So it cracked. They go like, oh, we'll fix this. They took some x-rays. They did whatever they had to do. And I'm like, oh, considering, I'm like, look, I know it's neglect. Like this is a place where I feel like I can be honest with them, And I say, okay, this is neglect. And they're like, yeah, well, considering you're neglecting them, they're actually in really good shape. So point is that like, they did a cleaning, then they were like, look, these fillings are very old. We can, you gotta fix them or whatever they are. So it's not a big deal. So I got like 3 or something in my whole mouth. And they're pretty small. They did 2 in like 20 minutes. So point I'm saying is that, when I go through that overpowering, yelling fucking voice that says, do not brush your teeth, do not meditate, do not go to the gym. All of this before the things that matter start. Because the things that matter don't start till like maybe, I don't know, 9 or 10 in the morning, when I'm out there in the world. So from 5:30 or 5 in the morning until that time, I'm in fucking preparation mode, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm getting up. I'm saying, I can roll over and look at my fine ass fucking woman and be like, bro, you don't need to look, you already won. I can look at the stock market or look at a savings account that I have or look at, all of my external possessions and say to myself, the disease will tell me, bro, you already won. You don't even need to get up right now. You could sleep for another 2 hours. And then when I succumb to that, what happens? Now I'm out there in the world on a daily basis with no practice walking through fear, walking through shame, walking through anxiety of regular life, of like running a business, staying sober, which is not really an anxiety thing, of being of service to other people, of just living life. Like sometimes life itself, if you have a full one, will give you anxiety. So since I don't have any practice going through that anxiety in the morning with the things that count, the things that matter, they start to fall apart, bro. A little bit at a time, they start to fall apart. And then I slip here and it gives me the, if I start slipping here, slipping there, then it gives me the authority to like slip everywhere. And I can just say, yeah, well, I'll just deal with this later and I'll sweep this under the rug and I'll do this, I'll do that. And that's fine. Temporarily, but I know that there are these little embers of fires that are starting to burn in my life. And I'm too scared to face them on my own. Way too scared. So what do I have to do is that I have to invite the higher power, God, the Lord, whatever you want to call him, into my life in the mornings or as much as I can throughout the day to say, listen, man, I know that it's scared to make this phone call. Everybody has tough, scary phone calls that they have to make. I don't know anybody that doesn't, unless they're just like lying to themselves. But yeah, there's tough phone calls I have to make. There's tough emails I have to send that are uncomfortable because there's situations in my life where, you know, I have to negotiate things that are not going to come out well for everybody involved. You know, and if I need to not neglect myself, that means sometimes I got to stand up for myself, which I'm learning how to do in an effective, loving, meaningful way, instead of just like letting things boil up and then exploding. And then like, you know, just lighting everything on fire, which is what happens when I let these little embers start to build and build and build. And then it's a full blown fire. And then the only thing I have to do with a full blown fire is dump water on it, which is it'll put out the fire, but it's not effective, you know, as far as like in real life. You know, to always wait till the last minute to just, you know, eject instead of just keeping an eye on everything and being responsible, which is the last thing that I want to do in my life, is to be responsible. Yeah, so that crazy self-doubt and low self-esteem and self-defeating talk, it shows up fucking every day on time, man. On time. It knows me. It knows where my worst freaking fears are. It knows everything about me. It knows things about me that I do not always share with other people, you know? So what do I do when I have to go into that darkness? I call it the suffering. The suffering is me doing the things that count. That's the suffering. For me, is doing the right thing is fucking suffering for me. And when I do that, when I eat right, when I do all the things, so what I've done is I built like a menu of things that are positive things that I can do in my life that will help me face all of the things of real life. That's why I do that, you know, that cold water swimming. That's why I do the exercise. That's why I do the meditation. That's why I do the sauna. That's why I do the praying. You know, all of these things. You know, I do and I have to try and do them religiously. And then and when I do them religiously, I get the benefit of living a healthy lifestyle and also of being more prepared. Nobody's ever 100% prepared, but being more prepared, or being as prepared as I can be for life's regular challenges, you know, of me getting older, of my kids getting older, my mom and my dad getting older, my business doing, you know, whatever it's doing. You know, just regular life stuff of existing. That's what it is. Just this is existing. You know, if I'm existing on this earth, man, there's going to be challenges. And I need to practice defeating challenges in order for me to really just, you know, stay forward. And it's not easy, bro. And I try to find all these different productive ways to challenge myself. And, you know, that's a good thing about AA, because if you are really spiritual in nature, or you're trying to be, you will find positive ways. I think last time I was talking about, you know, driving the speed limit, you know, just doing that, just literally forcing yourself to drive the speed limit. You know, that's like a meditative thing. It's surrendering yourself to this life in order to be really effective. Having other people hold me accountable to my actions and my behaviors. You know, I remember I was doing this stuff, and I go on and off with this kind of thing. And I don't know. I don't even know if I've spoken about it before. And maybe this is like a little bit, I don't want to say TMI. I can say TMI. So if you have children that are listening, I'm going to give you 1, 2, 3 seconds to like tell them to scray. Is that the word? Scram. Right. So somebody told me one time that if I stopped watching porn and stopped masturbating, jerking, whatever you want to call it, if I stopped doing that, I would actually be, I'll actually have better relations with my partner. And I was like, what? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, because I personally don't have a problem with porn in any ways. I don't have a problem with like masturbation in any way. Like there are people who like that's their drug of choice, and they can. And me, bro, I can find the right porn sequence in, I don't know, less than 10 minutes, less than 7 minutes or something. You know, I don't even know. It's just like bam, bam, okay, right? But, and is it hurting anybody? No. So I used to look at it like, okay, well, if I do this once a day, then that's one thing I got out of the way. Now I can go on with the rest of my day. You know, because in my mind, I'm thinking like, well, you know, I got that release. Maybe I won't be hawking or looking at all these women all throughout the day. And I think that's just part of being DNA, that men look at women and women look at men, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you do it, you know, super in front of your partner, you know, everybody knows they get mad about that kind of shit. But there's nothing in my mind that tells me that my woman doesn't check out other men. There's nothing, unless she's completely turned off, you know, in that way. So, I mean, I definitely am not having any conversations with her about it, but it's an unwritten understanding, I think, of just being a human being. Now, you know, being disrespectful and like, you know, commenting and all these other things, I've done that, and I've gotten in a lot of trouble over my lifetime, and I learned how to not do that. You know, sometimes it's just impulse. You know, you see an attractive person, you can just enjoy that for 4 seconds or 10 seconds, and it leaves your life. And it doesn't make me go and sneak around online and do like fucking playing footsie or what. It doesn't do that for me, right? But at the same moment, what I'm saying is that there are times, and I'm not 100% consistent, but there are times where I will just turn off all of the porn. Like I'll be like, all right, well, I'm not going to watch porn. I'm not going to pleasure myself. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. That I'm going to go old school Hebrew and just, you know, make my deposit with my partner, right? And when I tell you that it is supremely different, maybe not instantaneously, but over the course of like a few days, when you're just like, and then magically you treat your partner better. Not that I treat her bad, I don't. But like, I don't know, it just changes something about you. It just does. And it's nice. But it's a fucking fight to do that. There are people who live that lifestyle. That I have yet to conquer. But I do it for long periods at a time. You know? The other thing is that I don't want to say this in a demeaning way. I have to work on my vocabulary. Yeah, we played Wordle last night. I'll get into that in a minute. But I have to work on my vocabulary. But yeah, so like then it becomes like, no, I get to have this experience with my partner instead of me being like, oh, you know, she's like non-compliant in a way of like, listen, my partner could say no at any time, and I'll just have to be okay with that. Now, I had to grow into being okay with that because I guess initially most of my life I had bad attitude when it came towards sex relations with somebody else. And it put me in a position when I was younger where I would be offended. Like a girl could never say no. Now, I never forced myself on somebody or anything like that, but I would feel offended. I would feel like, I would feel like shit. If they just were not in the mood, which is so crazy when you think back at it now that I'm an adult. But back then I used to be like, what? Like, and I used to like put the bad energy out there, not shame them, but be like, yo, are you serious right now? Like, felt disrespected in some way, even though it's not disrespectful. It's not. It's just like, look, this is just part of life. So what I'm saying is I have a different energy about me when I'm practicing, what I'm talking about, of letting go of outside influences. I have a different energy about me. And my woman, listen, and again, not TMI, we have a very healthy, active sex life. We just do. And it's always been like that, but there were times when like, it was like, that we would have to have conversations, and those suck, and it wasn't like she wasn't doing anything right or wrong or whatever. It's just like in my brain, I felt like I deserved and I needed it more frequently. And me being like that would cause her to be like, no, motherfucker. Like, so, what I'm saying is that like, you evolve, and then the self-sacrifice, if you want to call it that, actually brings the desired result. I don't know how or why that works. Maybe I have the right person that she enjoys as much as me. And some people are like, oh, you guys are just brand new together, whatever. I don't know. I've been with the same person 10 years, and I'm 44, and she's bad as hell. And she keeps herself like that. It has nothing to do with me. I don't make her or ask her to do anything. I mean, she's involved and she exercises and whatever and this other shit just for mental well-being like me. But I know eventually we're going to be old and wrinkly. My balls are going to be on the floor. Her fucking titties are going to be pointing at her shoes. And that's going to be okay. And if she ever feels bad about it, we'll be in a position where I can just buy her some new ones if she wants. If she doesn't want them, it's going to be okay. But I find that it's a whole different experience when I am, devoted to her and her alone. And it's funny because I share this with some of my other friends, and we challenge each other. We're like, dude, let's try it. Let's do it, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like counting days. It's just like anything else. And the magic happens. And then but it's hard to maintain 100%, just like anything else. So you go on, you go off, and that's it. And that's the story of life. I brush my teeth. I don't brush my teeth. I work out regularly. I don't work out regularly. I go for 3 slices of fucking pizza, or I go for the salad. Right now, I put on a bunch of muscle in the last few weeks. I'd like to take 5 pounds off if I could. Right now, I'm like 183. I'd like to be maybe 177. If I get down to 175, I've been lifting a lot heavier in order to put this on because I felt better doing that, because I felt like I was being too much of for JJ by not lifting heavy and just doing a lot of reps. But I should really just ask somebody, okay, now that I'm at the size that I want, how do I just trim down, 3 or 4 pounds or 5 pounds? I almost have like a 6-pack. I have like a 4.5, which is cool for somebody who's fucking 44, somebody who's 44. So yeah, that's where we're at with it. Now, the last thing I'll mention, because I already, what do you call it? Foreshadowed, was the, so my little one wanted to play Wordle. Apparently, I don't play that game. I don't even know if I've ever. I believe I have, because they had it on their phone, and I'll play Chutes and Ladders if they want to play, because they like playing board games or regular games, and any chance that I can get to spend time with them is the absolute most important thing I can do every day, and everything is important, but that gives me the most joy. And especially if I do all the other stuff before then, so I can show up like with my loving attention and, googly-eyed self, instead of just like showing up, like using my time with her to pacify my worries about other things. It's like, no, the other things are being taken care of, and now I have all this time for you. Yeah, so they're 17, and their older sibling, my middle kid, is pretty sharp. I got to say that. They're pretty sharp. My woman is supremely intelligent, and me, I just talk fast. So, but I'm pretty sharp too. I shouldn't say that. I wish I was smarter. I always did. I knew I was never like an A student, or I didn't have in my mind. I wasn't smart enough to be like A's and skip grades. But I knew if I could be a solid B if I worked at it, and but I never did, because if it was either A or nothing, either way. So now that they're like 17, we used to play all these other games, categories and this, that, and whatever, their whole life. And because they're the youngest, they would lose a lot, because ain't nobody going to let them win, because, then you're robbing them. You're robbing them. I did the same thing with my son. When my son was little, I used to whip him in fucking chess. We played chess like 4 or 5 times a week for a long time, and I used to smoke him. And then finally, when he was in school, we were in Brooklyn. He went to school, and he came back with all these trophies because I never let him win. I never let him win. So either way, so we're playing Wordle, and they're all doing good. I am not that good. So I just asked if I could stop and just be the one picking the words, and the 3 of them will play. And there was a time, even when my girl was just like, I don't know, she almost gave the little one like a clue or said something. I was like, oh, that's going to be a rough one for them to get. And I was like, no, don't ever say, I wasn't even making a fight. I was like, no, we don't use those words in this house, like making a joke. And my little one, she got every word that I just would magically dream up. She got every one. And at the end of the thing, it was a 3-way tie, but because, it would be a 3-way tie. The first round, when she was guessing the word, she doesn't get any score for that. So she got a 0. So after that, I just took over. So she, if she got the worst score in that round, she would have had a 3-way tie with her mom and her older sibling. So I was just like, that means that you fucking made it. You made it and you won. And to me, they won, and we just made it that they won because in a technicality, they won. Right? So, and I get to watch that in real time, them discovering that they belong with the rest of us in that game. That if you ask them, they'd be like, oh, I have this learning disability, I have this, I have that, all these excuses. And we just let them drown, but we don't let them die. And they fucking persevere. And they did. It was like the best part of everything. The best part of the whole night. I was like, yo, dog, you fucking did it. And I was adamant about not letting anybody help you. Same way I was adamant about, you showing up last week and getting in the water. Just show up, and and at your own pace, you'll make it happen. But it'll be at your own pace, and they did. And they did. And in the last maybe month or so, my middle one has been exercising a lot. Crazy. And maybe it's fake, maybe it's not. I don't know. But we've been getting along a lot better. A lot better. And I think maybe they're coming around a little bit, and maybe also coming around a little bit. Because even this morning when I was like, see, it was so good that Sam won yesterday. She need that confidence, blah, blah, blah. And they looked at me, they were like, yeah, that was really cool. And you're right, they needed that. And maybe they're just evolving at their own pace also, and realizing that I may be a little bit prickly, but the things that I'm teaching them is the hard stuff that we're talking about. Walking through all of that stuff in order to do what it takes. Because you are capable. If you practice, once you get in the game, then life is not, the perils of life will not be an introduction. You'll be like, oh, if I already, when they ride that Peloton bike, because they do now, the middle one, they ride that Peloton bike like fucking crazy. That may be the hardest physical thing that they do that day. So when other hard things happen, it's not the first time it happened that day. It's not. And that's what's nice. So anyway, the introduction to this show was Eminem over Will Smith, Summertime, which was a funny remix because Will Smith's, he had that little thing with Eminem. And yeah, so I thought it was nice to play that. And plus Summer's here. I'm not even sure if I played that intro already on another episode, but I love you guys. Please like and subscribe on all podcast platforms. Share these episodes. Spread the word. We're doing really good. We could always do better, and I can't do it without you guys. Peace. Okay, everybody, we'd like to thank you for joining us on the Spiritual Experience. Please don't forget to like and subscribe on all podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google, Pandora, everywhere. And please find us on Facebook, where you can become part of our family. We'll see you around.